This video here, Xanderhal is Not Your Ally, by DJ Mule, is the perfect example of everything wrong with the left and progressivism. This is the exact type of thing that turned me away from the entire ideology, as it were, for a really long time. And if it weren't for some of the people that he actually will cover in this video, in this kind of takedown, if you will, this horrible hit piece that DJ Mule tries, I wouldn't have ever actually challenged my own political and, in some ways, social beliefs and bringing me to where I am today. Hey everyone, my name's Tristan Verstappen, and I have a lot to say about many things. We're going to be going over Xanderhal is Not Your Ally by DJ Mule. Now, DJ Mule is a relatively common, well, not really, he's a video essayist. He does a ton of, video essays here. In fact, if we sort by some of his most popular things, you kind of get a feel for his channel. He's very, very much a leftist, very anti-capitalism, pro-communism, all that good stuff, which, I'm not quite sure how I feel about that per se, but we'll talk about that. I do want to point out that his main video here, the video that he put on his front page, is Vosh is Not Your Ally. Now, there's a reason that I bring that up, and we'll get into it in a minute here, but without further ado, let's get into Xanderhal is Not Your Ally. You can see I've disliked it because I had actually watched this video many, many times. I watched it when it was initially released, and I watched a bunch of people go over it. I watched Vosh cover it. I watched who was it? There were a bunch of people that kind of dissected it. Xan actually talked about it a little bit himself, but I watched people cover this kind of thing. And originally I thought, I don't really have much to say on this, but the more that I watched some things, the more that I realized there's actually a lot that this brings up for me. This video in and of itself kind of is an avenue for me to kind of talk about a lot of different kind of just things that I want to bring up and discuss as far as my political evolution to an extent and a whole bunch of other things and kind of where I stand on different things and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I found that I actually do have a decent amount to say about Xanderhal is Not Your Ally, and with that in mind, or with that said, let us begin.
Well, internet, looks like I'm back again, doing another one of these videos. I could be making content about how leftists can start organizing, or I could be doing more stuff about unions, or, how to get involved with direct action, but, of course, the algorithm doesn't like that stuff. It loves stuff like this. Drama.
Okay, first thing I have to point out here, I really hate when people do this whole, here I am, I have to make this kind of content because this is what you people like, this is what the algorithm likes. Dude, if you're able to do this, and from the seeming how everything he does, it seems that, this is what he does for a living. If this is what you're doing, I mean, honestly, be happy you have an audience at all. There are some people that don't have any audience that are doing the kind of thing that you do and stuff. And, but anyway, yeah, I don't know. I just, that whole, oh, here I am talking about this. I really don't want to be talking about this, but I'm going to talk about it. It's come on, dude. Just don't complain about it. Just own up to it. Just do it. And, just do it, Just do it.
Nonsense. And it's all because of a group of guys that monopolize the online left-wing politics space, are increasingly ineffectual, perpetuate harmful behaviors, and haven't actually done that.
Okay, first let's go over the people in question here. So, Xanderhal, Xan the Man, is the guy that this video was about. I don't know who this guy is. Sorry. I'm sure he's great. But, good rule of thumb is if DJ Mule doesn't like him, he's probably pretty cool. Or she, or they. This is Destiny. He's very much a leftist debate bro, streamer kind of guy. Vosh very much kind of followed in his footsteps, and Vosh was hugely influential to me personally, and kind of still is, especially as a leftist and different things of that nature. And this guy is Dylan Burns, who is a really cool dude from everything that I've seen of his. He actually has worked and done like real activism and organizing and stuff like that. And he also hosts this show on Twitch called the Hippy Dippy Debate Podcast, something of that effect. I've only seen a handful of episodes. Admittedly, they were the ones that featured either Vosh or another guy that I think DJ Mule might talk about later, named Hunter Avalon. He's a good dude too. But no, from what I've seen of Dylan and the people that he like has on his show and things of that nature, and just what he does as a person, he's pretty cool. Not everybody that he has on his show, you know, he's had some people like Lecture Fan, I think the guy's name is, and some people like that are just no. But yeah, Dylan's a cool dude and he makes good content. So yeah.
Are increasingly ineffectual, perpetuate harmful behaviors, and haven't actually done that much to change that scene since Gamergate. That's right, gang. We're doing another video about Debate Bros. This time, we're talking about Xanderhal and how he is not your ally.
Don't believe it.
You know what? I will give credit where it's due. His editing and transitions and stuff, pretty good. Personally, I view this little content notes section a little bit cringe, especially because some of the things are like everything. It's like, just tell people not to watch the video. I don't know. It's like, you know, content notes, real life. I don't know. But I want to go back to something he mentioned before. He said about how these guys are the reason. See if I can go back to the.
The online left-wing politics.
These guys. He says these guys are the reason why drama is more popular than content. Now, I want to direct you to the reality of life, and especially with online discourse. This video was made 6 years ago by a great content creator who actually is one of the OGs on YouTube, Jax Films. Makes really good parody and music video, you know, all those different kind of things. Really good dude. And his whole thing is about how, this video here is about how drama is more popular than content. This was, you know, when things like Keemstar were really kind of getting big, and he did some digs at Keemstar and, you know, things like that. But look, the reality is drama is always has been, and unfortunately always will be more popular than content. Why? Because it's just the way that it is. It's what gets people's attention. You know, it's the car crash that people can't look away from. It's, you know, there's so many different things that go into it. But I mean, why do you think that, like, you know, things like the National Enquirer and tabloids are so big? You know what? Why do you think that stuff gets so much attention and so much gossip with celebrities and different things like that? Anytime, especially if you're any type of public figure, the drama that happens to you that you discuss or that's discussed about you, that's going to be more popular than your own content. That's just the way that it is. So it's nothing because of, you know, those guys or anything like that. Like, they've monopolized drama or anything like that. And they haven't monopolized drama anyway, because what I mean to say is their main content isn't even drama. Like, their most popular stuff isn't drama. Their most popular stuff is more, you know, takedowns of conservatives like Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh. Explanations on broader leftist ideas and stuff like that. But, and in fact, I'm going to do something that DJ Mule won't do here and show you what I'm talking about. So, I don't really need this one anymore. If we look at Vosh, who's actually streaming right now, at the time of recording here, sort by his most popular content. Now, I wouldn't say this is drama, because these aren't really takedowns, what we're about to see here. This is more content that is like, we'll get into this a little bit later and get into the specifics a bit later, but these are very kind of like, normie content, if you will, very much things that like the average person who maybe doesn't really have much interest in political or social issues, broadly speaking, might be interested in. Things like in 2020, Shane Dawson was so much worse than I thought. How do we stop people like him? This is where he is addressing an issue, a current social issue, and addressing the problems with it, and kind of figuring out how we can, move forward from there. A lot of these things. None of these, actually, if we look at his like main content, this stuff isn't drama. I mean, all this stuff is like the closest to any of this drama would be like responding to and like reacting to videos, kind of like what I'm doing right now with DJ Mule here. It's that kind of thing, but they're not. It's not like infighting or anything like that. And then if we look at Xanderhal, his most popular video here, how I fell down the alt-right pipeline and escaped, which DJ Mule will talk about and have some criticisms with. And then we have where he's talking about the JonTron debate with Destiny and kind of seeing if he's gotten any better. Spoiler alert, not really. All these different things, but none of this is drama. Whereas if we look at DJ Mule, and again, what is his main video on his homepage? Vosh is not your ally. By his own standards that DJ Mule is setting for Xanderhal, he is putting drama first and foremost, as it were. But anyway, I just want to point that out. There's going to be a lot of things that we can point out with DJ Mule moving forward here, but that's just one thing. So on with the show.
Space are increasingly changed that scene since Gamergate. That's right, gang. We're doing another video.
So real quick, I also want to touch on Gamergate. I want to see if I can actually find. Let me see if I can just find like Gamergate. Yeah, Gamergate was a harassment campaign that I could just read the Wikipedia article here, but yeah, it started in it basically went from 2014 to 2016, and to summarize it, I mean, you can always research it, go through any videos you want or anything, or like read articles of it online. But basically, Gamergate was very much something where I was only kind of tacitly familiar with and involved with it at the time that it was happening. I never really fell into a lot of the stuff about Gamergate. But I did really buy into the kind of anti-SJW narrative. I was subscribed, I think, to No Bullshit and a couple other channels like that had discussed this concept, this go woke, go broke mentality, and all this stuff. And I kind of bought into that a little bit, but I definitely didn't like go super into it or anything like that. That's just not where I ended up with what I spent my time on personally. But it caused a lot of damage to a lot of people. I mean, there was legitimate harassment and like doxing and death threats and all kind of stuff happening to people. It was a really bad time. And the big thing that conservatives would say all the time, these people, Ben Shapiro even being one of them, the big thing that these people would always say is, oh, no one wants to debate us. No one wants to debate us. No one wants to debate us. So when people like Destiny and Vosh and all these others came along and started debating these people and making these people, look bad in front of their audiences, it started to kind of turn the tide for a lot of these people. And it really ended up being a positive thing for, more leftist progressive ideology and people that are on the left. So when DJ Mule says, oh, this content, like, it doesn't help anybody, it doesn't, do anything like that, I really don't know what he's on about, because he's just incorrect. I mean, he really is. He's just incorrect. But let's hear what he thinks about Xanderhal.
About debate bros. This time, Xanderhal. Most people know him as the cheeky young debate bro regular guy who likes to smonk.
And
Absolutely.
going along with what they're saying, but not actually.
Or from his alt-right pipeline video where he congratulates himself on not being a fascist anymore. What a cool and normal thing to be proud of. Well done for doing the bare minimum, bro. If you're...
Alright. I opened this video by saying that this video and this content creator is everything wrong with the left and progressives, and what pushed me away from that scene, as it were, for a long time. That is exactly the mentality that I'm talking about. That whole, oh, you did a lot of work to actually change your life, your worldview, and are at a better understanding of the world. Good job doing the bare minimum. You should have just already had the right ideas. Like, if you think that, and unfortunately a lot of people who are, they're often referred to as tankies, which I would definitely say that's what DJ Mule most likely is. A lot of people like him think this way. And I don't really understand where that kind of mentality comes from, where you just think that people should kind of like automatically have the right ideas, because for one, that's not reality. And for another, like, you want people to challenge their ideas and to like come to better conclusions and like, you know, change the way they think about things if they have harmful beliefs. I was having a conversation with someone online where I said a similar thing. I explained how I used to be homophobic and transphobic, and they had said, they were like, oh, well, you know, congratulations for like changing your worldview, but did you ever think about the harm you caused beforehand? Which, first of all, yes. But secondly, that's not what this is about. I'm just explaining to you my experience. I'm giving an example of how somebody can, you know, how somebody's mind can be changed for the better. So like people like you, people like that person, and like DJ Mule that like push people away like this. All you do is make the left, as it were, a very toxic environment for people. But as we'll come to find out, DJ Mule is way more interested in things like, you know, kind of just hug boxing with a bunch of, you know, other people that already agree with him, rather than actually trying to challenge people's views and ideas and encouraging them to, you know, become better. I said how this will bring up a lot of things for me personally. In 2020, I had to do a lot of work to kind of challenge and deconstruct my beliefs religiously. I was raised Christian and never really questioned it. I mean, I questioned it here and there for a while, but I never like, you know, really kind of started looking into things and deconstructing my religion until basically like you gotta love neighbors, especially when you live in a apartment with paper thin walls. Anyway, I specifically, I essentially spent all of the time of like the first half of 2020 with COVID and everything going on, kind of deconstructing my views. And it didn't start that way. You know, it started ironically with me actually like looking into the Bible and trying to read it. And I realized I kept having to do apologetics for everything that I read. You know, and then eventually I just followed the evidence where it led, and I deconstructed my views. That was a difficult process. And when anybody does that kind of thing, that's a difficult thing to do. I also used to believe that I was apolitical. Now I kind of believe that I don't really believe it's possible to be apolitical. I kind of believe now that everything is political, whether or not you want it to be. But it wasn't until I discovered people like Vosh and Zan and Hunter Avalon and Shoe on Head and all these people that and of course great people like ContraPoints and stuff like that, where I started challenging my views, and I started, challenging my views politically and socially. And I went from more of a kind of right-leaning centrist, I would say, to eventually more of a, not centrist, but I would say just someone who's like kind of left leaning in general. I'm not really sure where I would say I am now specifically, but it's definitely somewhere on the left. I'm not like super far, communist or anything like that, but I definitely think there's issues with capitalism, and think there's things that need to be addressed, and definitely think there's systems that need reformed, and maybe even some that need demolished altogether. Although I'm more for reform rather than I am demolishing, but that's me. Anyway, I just want to point out that like anybody that has that whole like, oh, challenged your views and came to better positions, good job in doing the bare minimum. Like you he's gonna do this moral grandstanding, like up on his high horse bullshit throughout the entire video, and it's really gross. It's really gross.